Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. I am hosting today from Romania, where I'm currently with our engineers. Never stand still at Adfin. So we're busy improving the product even more and working on new features as well. I'm joined by Veronika. Veronika is probably now the most well-known face at Adfin after touring the
With my
country for 3 weeks. How was it, Veronika?
It was really, really good fun. It's like the best way to see like all of our customers in such like a concise, succinct 3 weeks. Um, and this time we like focused on actually like sitting down with them properly to discuss like product feedback, how they got getting on with Adfin. So found out lots of fun and interesting things as well.
Action packed, no doubt. What was the highlight? What was the best location?
Oh, Sam, you should have prepared me for this question.
You're
Um,
bound to insult someone now on this webinar because I'm sure there's lots of people who you went visited.
I'll do it in a way that probably won't insult anyone because I think my highlight was actually so we had a lot of late finishes and there was one late finish where we were driving past the beach just above Liverpool. I think it was called Formby Beach and we just drove past it and we were like, screw it, let's go in. And after like doing 5 visits that day, just like diving headfirst into the sea was probably the highlight. I know I'm
Lovely.
supposed to
After
say probably one of the visits. They were all great, but that was really, really good.
quite the diplomat. Yeah, after being in that very hot van as well. Good stuff. So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Plan for today. So, we're going to talk a bit about how we can help you and also your clients with credit control. We're going to double click on AI chasing, why it works and why I believe it beats automated reminders. And then, yeah, we've got some time at the end for questions. So, please do come into the chat with your questions. If it's a quick question, we'll try and answer it immediately. If it's a bit longer, we might leave it for the end. And if everyone's too shy to ask a question, then Veronika's got a list of pre-prepared questions that seem to come up a lot as well. So do, yeah, say hi in the chat, pop your questions in there, and yeah, we'll begin. So I think first of all, just to cover off kind of why Adfin is increasingly focusing on credit control. So, as probably people who are early customers know, we first built payments, and really we had a focus on how do we help various businesses get paid as easily as possible. So, if you're a business accepting direct debit, bank payments, card payments, how can you access all of that functionality in one place to make that really easy to manage and also give your clients a great experience? Over the last kind of 2.5 years, we've seen more and more that not only is it a problem businesses getting paid, but also actually lots of businesses have dedicated credit control teams, or they've got a business owner who's spending their mornings or on weekends or evenings chasing down invoices. And really, there's a big problem out there with a lot of time being spent on chasing down payments, some software being used, but typically that software being fairly kind of rigid and static and not always getting the best results. And ultimately, that then manifests itself in many different ways in a business. Maybe the business owner is sick of spending hours a week chasing down invoices. Maybe there's not sufficient cash flow to finance an acquisition. Maybe there's a finance manager looking at DSO and thinking, God, this is terrible. We should be at 5 days, not at 40 days. So that's why we're focusing on credit control. It's obviously a natural extension of what we're doing at Adfin. I think especially that we work with a lot of accountants, and the other thing we see is that accountants have been very, very good, typically for their own business, moving towards direct debit, and that somewhat kind of eradicates the need for credit control. But actually, as accountants, you also serve and advise lots of other businesses, and those businesses can't always move to a recurring payment setup for lots of different reasons. And therefore, they're getting stuck down in credit control as well. So we're really building this product out more, both to help accountants in places where you have your own credit control problem, but really so we can help the end businesses who are also suffering with this, obviously via accountants as much as possible. So that's the grand plan. We launched about 6 weeks ago now, I think. We did a big launch of our kind of refreshed credit control proposition, which we call customer agents. Think of a customer agent really as a blueprint for how you want to collect money and run credit control. So a customer agent allows you to set up a bunch of different rules for how you remind customers, for how you take payment from those customers, and how you manage different scenarios where they can't pay. We'll go into that in more detail, but think of that credit controller as being a blueprint for a certain set of customers. So you might have a set of VIP customers who you don't want to chase too much, and you want to be very cautious with because they're very meaningful for your business and the relationship is very sensitive. And maybe there's a long tail of smaller customers who you don't have as strong a relationship with, and those customers need credit control and consistent reminders to get them to pay. So that's really thinking about customer agents. It's just a way for you to set up rules and customize chasing by different customer groups. And then obviously coming on finally, to the theme of this webinar, so optimized chasing, which is our new AI chasing. We really built that because what we see in the market is there are lots of kind of static email chasing softwares where you can write one email and then, if that is sent, write another. What we saw there is typically they treat every customer the same. If you talk to any credit controller, and we've spoken to literally hundreds this year, the first thing you will tell you is that every client behaves differently and they respond to different things differently. And therefore, it's really important to customize the way you communicate, the tone you communicate in, and the timing of those communications to match the customer. Otherwise, the customer isn't going to pay as you want them to. And some businesses, maybe bigger businesses, can have armies of credit controllers to do that for them. But most businesses are, constrained on resource, and they therefore can't optimize that in the right way. So that's a bit of a preamble before the demo. Veronika, not sure if you've got anything to add there. Insights from the tea party. Break up my monologue. Go on. Put you on the spot again. This is good.
You have. I guess I think my only key thoughts around this is in my opinion, pre-optimized, Adfin was already super easy to use and super easy to set up. But what we realized as we were meeting more people is not everyone quite had the time to set up all their workflows how they wanted to. And I guess this just kind of alleviates the pressure from having to do that. So this is just yet another thing where it's we noticed that there was a way we could automate things for people, make it super easy. So hopefully some people will turn this on and they don't need to, tinker with those setups anymore.
Yeah, great call out. So it's hours setting up and figuring out which emails when. You can basically remove all of that with a click of a toggle.
Yeah.
So this is our demo account here. So in this scenario, you can see that we've got 3 customer agents, which appear here. We've put these into slow payers, and it looks like there's a lot of slow payers for this business. So 170 into there. A couple of VIPs that we want to treat a bit differently. And then our recurring payers who are actually primarily on direct debit. So again, you can have as many of these agents or as few as you like. You don't have to use multiple agents if you don't need to. If you actually say that, my business, basically all the customers are, they're all in the same group. I want to, use the same broad brush approach to all of them, then you can have a single agent. If you want to use kind of more specific rules and setups, then that's where you can have multiple agents. If I dive into here, so we'll look at the slow payer agent. And really this is the piece that we're going to focus on today. So within Adfin, there's the option to use kind of these manually defined steps. So that was a little bit the old Adfin, if you will, or optimized per customer. And this is AI-enabled chasing. So what happens when you select optimize per customer is that actually Adfin is going to look at the payment behavior for that given customer. We're going to build a pattern based on their past activity of when they pay and why. And then we're going to continue to kind of adapt our reminders going forward. So what might that look like in practice? Maybe you've got two customers. The first is a sole trader. They're typically, during the week on site, very busy. They're maybe not the best payer because they manage all of their admin themselves, but actually what they do normally is they sit down on a Saturday morning and they go through and figure out, right, yeah, I'm going to pay this. Now, based on that previous payer behavior, we could spot that, this customer typically pays using that WhatsApp link. We can see the time that they normally pay. And actually, what the agent would do is it would tweak the reminder. So actually, it would ping a WhatsApp reminder out on a Saturday morning and catch that person just as they're doing their admin. So like a well-timed reminder at the point of payment. Again, another example, maybe you also have a customer assigned to this agent who is a larger business. It's a limited company, and that limited company always does their payment run on a Wednesday afternoon. Again, based on looking at their previous behavior, we can ensure that we have the right reminders going out. In this case, it's likely an email reminder on the a couple of days before that payment run, and therefore we ensure that the payment's going to be included there. So it's really all around how we adapt to different scenarios, and we ensure that all customers aren't treated the same. I guess, what could you do if you weren't using this? You could define these steps yourself. You could look at how your customer pays. You could change those steps. Maybe you've got 5 invoices out to that customer. You see that one's paid, at a given time of day, and you go in and adjust these. Obviously, that's unmanageable as soon as you're working with 50 or 100 or 500 customers. So that's really the problem this solves is how do you ensure that you have the exact right reminders going out at the right time to a customer. It does also save a lot of time on the setup. So again, if you're an accountant, you're working with a client, maybe you're using Adfin on behalf of that client, you could set this up to them for them in order to manage their credit control. And if you select this option, then it's going to be very easy, right? You're going to ensure that they get the best possible result without kind of you having to go through, have a back and forth, understand exactly who their clients are and how they'd like to time them. We do give some control, some additional control over this as well. So you can actually decide, right, for this customer group, do I want to set a minimum time between reminders? So maybe you actually think, I do really want my customers to pay, but I'm a bit uneasy about sending more than one reminder every 5 days. Then you could set that as an override as well. And yeah, you can also set the preferred communication channel. So by default, we'd recommend that kind of all of these are selected. If you unselect one, then we're going to make sure that, we never send a reminder over that channel going forward. The other kind of key piece to mention here is the use of something that we call adaptive templates. So an adaptive template is essentially a message that you can add to Adfin. Right now, these are controlled, find it within settings. So you can add your adaptive templates here. For new accounts, we already have suggested templates. We'd recommend that you don't need to use more than probably 3 or 4 typically. And you can use these templates for different kind of use cases in your reminder sequences. So if we look at one here, we've got a standard overdue notice. I'll just go in and edit here. here you can see, so we've added some text, and actually this text here, you'll see there's brackets around certain parts. That's where essentially kind of placeholder type text. So the way these messages work is that Adfin will take your message here, will then, the reason they're called adaptive, will adapt it to the context at the time. So when your customer agent picks up this template, it'll read, "Hi Alex, this is a reminder for example, invoice 1234. The agent will then use this as a structure to compose its own message, keeping your overall kind of content structure and tone, but adding in the relevant context. So it'll add the customer's name, they'll add the invoice number, the amount, the due date, obviously the payment link, and it'll ensure, the tone is kind of consistent with the overall context of communication. So if there's multiple invoices outstanding, it'll also list them all here. So it's not just kind of picking up on that singular invoice. What we can have here, so we do also have the context of kind of previewing everything within Adfin. We are just in the process. Unfortunately, we're literally a few kind of days away from having our preview within the agent. So you'll see that early next week. We're quite ready in time for this webinar, despite our best efforts. But then you'll be able to see these previews and see exactly a preview of all the activity that would happen in a certain scenario if you were to use optimized chasing with your different adaptive templates.
Sam, I've just had a good question coming from the chat from Rosie. She's asking, how long does it take for the AI to get a theme, or I guess to analyze the payment behavior for the customer paying?
Yeah, really good question. So the way this works, so when, let's say you've got a fresh customer and Adfin doesn't have any history of their payment behavior, we'll use kind of a standard approach based on what we see works best through the broader book. And that's typically kind of starts off with an email, and then we might use some of the other channels that you've selected. Now, after every single reminder, the AI is actually reassessing the context for that customer. So they're looking to see, right, has there been another invoice or payment request that is raised since and that was paid? Did they open the email? Did they look at it? Did they go through to the payment link? We're kind of building that full picture. And every time there's a new input, we'll actually adjust to that and adjust the sequence going forward. So it's basically like consistent monitoring to see exactly what the customer is doing. And every time the customer has any kind of action, we'll adapt to what we're doing going forward. Constant AI surveillance of what's happening. Probably not good marketing there. Good. Nice. So I'll just jump back to the agent. Great. So this is focused right now on demand. So those flows where the customer is kind of paying one off. You can also use your adaptive templates when, for example, asking a customer to sign a direct debit mandate. So you can just jump here in this mandate request, say, I'd like this sent from my own email. And again, you can have your own kind of template text here, and we'll take that and then adjust it to the context. I think the final piece just to talk through here. So obviously, like ultimately, what's the point of doing this? The point is so you, and if you're using Adfin on behalf of clients, can get paid faster. So we've now had this live for around 6 weeks. Obviously, we're still, that 6 weeks, it's like some customers we're starting to build the data set. Most customers receive an invoice every kind of month or couple of weeks. So we're still building that data set, but we're seeing really, really promising early results. So a couple of customers who we saw had kind of 5 invoices paid prior to optimized chasing being turned on. and 5 after. And there's around a 40% reduction in time to pay from before to after. So it can have a really meaningful effect. And yeah, ultimately that's the reasons we've built this. So we've got our engineering team here based in Yash who are always studying this and understanding how do we make tweaks to get the best possible result in order to get things paid faster.
We just had
Good.
another question in the chat,
Nice.
Sam, just around GDPR and whether we need to gain consent from customers because we're tracking whether emails are opened. Do you know anything about that?
Whether emails are open. So the email opening won't be associated with like the customer's name in that scenario. And the email opening itself. So let me think. We look at WhatsApp, we look at email, we also look at when the link itself has been opened. But that's not something that would be kind of tied back to the customer name itself in that scenario. So it's more similar to if you send a message from your email client, you can typically see if there's you can kind of ask for a read receipt and see what's happened there. So it's just a signal based on that. Cool. Should we move to the top questions, Veronika? Unless you picked more out from the chat.
Yes. So far, those are the ones that have come in through the chat. So if anybody does have any more, please shoot. But if not, I'm just going to go through some of the ones that I got asked quite a lot when we were kind of running our current customers through this whilst we visited them on the tea party. I think we have actually crossed a few off, but I guess one was around kind of like concern. So like, is this going to damage my relationships? Like, are my customers going to know? So maybe just if you can touch on that, Sam.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And certainly, something we're very kind of conscious of as we're building this product. We really wanted to look at it as how can we build something that actually net can improve the customer relationship versus, static reminders from kind of softwares that exist already, or, maybe rushed reminders because you're writing it late on a Tuesday night and you want to be doing other things. So something we put a big focus on is, first of all, ensuring you can bring in your kind of tone and write those templates to reflect how you would communicate with the client. Making sure that, you can set certain rules to make sure this isn't irritating. For example, setting the minimum time of days to like 7 days instead of the AI sending too many reminders. But we're also investing a lot right now to make sure, as I said, the previewing is like really clear, so you can get a really good sense of exactly what would happen in a certain scenario for this customer. You can make sure that you're kind of happy with that and happy with how it's working before you start using the product. I think what we typically see in terms of adoption here is people might start with like a lower number of customers. So they might, for example, if you go here, it's kind of very easy to move customers between these agents. So to give an example, you might go here and you might select a few customers and change the agent and move them to your slow payers. You can start with a handful, see how they respond, see if you're happy with the AI and please it reflects your tone, and kind of expand from there. The other thing you can do, of course, is I go to a payment here. You can kind of review everything that's happened in the past in terms of communication. So you could go here and make sure you're kind of happy again with what the client has received and what's scheduled coming up.
Cool. The second one, I obviously know the answer to, but people are asking, is there an additional cost around this? So I think we should go through that as well.
Yes. So there is an additional cost. So the way that we price what we call our enhanced features on credit control, is an additional 0.3% when a payment is paid that has used that capability. So just to make that really clear, if you're using a customer agent that had optimized chasing turned on, and you had a £100 invoice that was paid, let's say using a consumer card, you would get billed for the consumer card fee, which is 1% plus 20 pence, and then there would be an additional 0.3%, so 30 pence. My maths is very bad.
You got it right, Sam.
It's kind of
well
high
done.
pressure on this, 30 pence on that collection. I really, to explain that fee, obviously in the background, we are using, like every other startup in the world right now, AI credits in order to power this. So it's a pretty advanced kind of model that ultimately leads to, faster payment in return for that percentage fee. We do also, it's worth noting, so we're doing another webinar next week covering late payment fees. So late payment fees are they're the other feature that is covered within Enhanced. And again, if you're using late payment fees, be that additional 0.3% fee. So that's the cost structure. Hopefully nice and clear. But yeah, do let us know if there's any further questions on that.
Cool. And then nothing else has come through, so I'll continue with one last one. I think we've kind of covered like the kind of how it learns, but what if somebody doesn't have that many invoices, or they're only using Adfin, I don't know, to collect card payments or something? Like, will it have enough information to like learn off that, and how is that different to somebody processing lots of different invoices for one customer?
Yeah, so it learns at the customer level always. So as soon as one invoice comes in, we can start building a pattern of that behavior and, understand what that customer is doing and adapt. So whether you have 5 customers and say you've got 5 customers and they've got a couple of invoices each, that's still, we're going to build that pattern on a customer level and adjust what we do going forward. Or if you have 5,000 customers, we'll also be building that picture based on the customer level, using ultimately the same data inputs. So yeah, whether you have very few or lots of customers, you can start using it. And obviously, as I said, you can kind of start with a smaller pool of customers and then expand on out from there. So yeah, full flexibility from that perspective.
And can you also have some people on the optimized chasing and other people on manually defined steps?
Very good question. Again, yeah, you can. So the way to do that, just jump in here. Again, so whether a customer agent uses manually defined steps or optimized chasing is defined kind of at the agent level, so for a group of customers. So what you can do is you can have 2 different customer agents. You could have one where optimized chasing is turned on, and you can have another agent where it's turned off, and then simply just assign your customers out to those agents based on which settings you'd like to use. And that applies, not only across the kind of 2 different models of chasing, but also across the skills as well. So, for example, if you wanted to use business card surcharging, so you pass the fee for a card back to the customer for one set of customers, and you wanted it to have it off for another set, then you'd have 2 agents with the respective configurations, and then assign your customers out.
Cool. And we've actually just had one more come in from the chat, and it's actually a very good question. So if there are multiple invoices that are due, let's say one is overdue by 3 months and another one is overdue by 1 month, will there be just one chaser email or multiple?
Yeah, good question. So in this scenario, we would have a single email And then we'd list out the different invoices, and we'd basically position the first one as being like very overdue, and we'd mention the other one. So we try and run communication at like the customer level, because it's more consistent than like lots of communications coming about different things from different angles. But yeah, so single email, but very clear kind of context given as to which ones are how overdue by how much.
Yep. And we've actually had another good question from Rosie. I think I can get this one. So Rosie asked, for accounting firms, do they often have different agents for clients such as MTD monthly invoicing, year-end only invoices, or do they use one type of agent? I think like we've seen people set different things up for different reasons, but ultimately this is kind of like the communication style. So if you would communicate with both of those clients in the same way, then you would use the same agent. But if, let's say for the year-end invoices, you only want to use one type of thing or have different skills turned on, then you can have different agents. But obviously when you turn on Optimised, then we will just do whatever is best for each customer anyway. And another question, could I add surcharging and late fees after a certain date is reached, e.g. more than 14 days?
Good question, Neil. Let me think through this. So the answer is yes. It's one of our like more advanced capabilities. So we do have now this concept of invoice override. So you can set rules based on a certain like invoice criteria. So what you could do here is have a rule that says like if invoice is rule here. So you could say if invoice is greater than 14 days overdue, I should need that second one, then you could add late fees here, and you could add surcharging, and you could save that rule, give it a name, invoices, and that basically these rules look at the actual invoice criteria itself instead of the customer, and this could then apply across all invoices, so all customer agents. So one of our newer kind of slightly more advanced pieces of functionality, but yeah, it's possible.
I didn't even know that, Sam, so I'm really happy that was asked.
I actually didn't know it until I thought through it. I was like, I'll give it
really
a go. And it's that. Great. And I see one more. It's the late fee percentage or set amount. So yeah, we align our late fees to the kind of late payment fee regulation set by the government. So that has basically statutory daily interest, which is 8% above the Bank of England base rate. And then it also has a fixed fee compensation, which is defined by like the band of the invoice value. So if the invoice is between £1 or £1,000, then the fixed fee is £40. If it's £1,000 to £10,000, then it's £70, and I think it's £110 over that. So what we do is we automatically add on the fixed fee component, and then we calculate daily the interest, and we add that onto the payment link as well and give a nice clear breakdown. But I'm giving a sneak peek of next week's webinar, so you have to join that as well, Rosie. Cool. Great. I think we'll wrap there then. I guess how can you get started? What we'd recommend is going to your current agent setup, probably duplicating your current agent, adding optimized chasing, and adding a couple of customers in there to get started. So that's what I'd recommend. As always, we're always here if you need more help and guidance. You can book a call from within your console. So just click the little get help icon in the bottom left. You'll be able to book a call with our customer success team. But please do let us know how you get on. we're continuing to invest in the product lots. So you'll see in the next couple of weeks, you'll see that previews go in. You'll see a bit of an upgrade to how you manage adaptive templates as well. So you'll be able to create those within the agent. It will be a bit more intuitive. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining.